right? Okay then. So I think we're in business. Oops, somebody coming in. Okay, I expect a few people will come in as we get started. It's kind of nice to be able to do this without getting up too early in the morning. I suppose one or two people have had to lie in. Okay then, shall I get started? I'll start. Let me just get ready first. Okay then, let me just go in. And last time I had a few problems with this stuff. Didn't seem to like me using the draw tool. So hopefully I'm going to be all right. Anyway, let's give it a start. Now, I did this last week, of course, and we were talking about, what is a word, basically. And we mentioned, the idea of transcribing, right? Transcribing and transcribe. What a funny word. Transcribe. That's in the quiz, actually. And it really means to write. Just to write. That's all it means. Okay. And we also last week, we kind of mentioned some of these things about, there's three elements to a word, you could say. Right? There's sound, grammar, and meaning. Right? So it's kind of three parts. Right? And that's kind of interesting in a way that when you look at words, very often things come down to threes for some reason. And we'll kind of in the video on semiotics, you'll see there's a theory of threes, right? That signs, there are three kinds of signs, and we kind of cover some of that today as well. And I think that's quite interesting, actually. But anyway, threes. Remember threes. It's in threes, and we think of words. We think of words as having three kind of parts: sound, grammar, and meaning. We can also call it phonology, syntax, and semantics. As we said last week, phonetics is kind of practical. It's about writing down the sounds and describing the position of the lips, mouth, tongue, teeth, and so on in your mouth when you make words. And phonology is more scientific, right? Theoretical, looks at language systems and compares language systems, say the phonology of Japanese and the phonology of English. And then syntax is just grammar, and semantics is meaning. Now, one thing you could ask is when you look at this is a word, right? And we say that a word is a sign. It's a sign, okay? Now, we're going to look at this, the idea of signs in a little while, because you kind of have to have an idea of what is a sign, right? How do we use signs? Now, it seems that words in human language are kind of unusual, we think, right? Now, if you think about animals, do animals have signs? Do animals use signs? Well, yeah, apparently they do, right? Animals use signs. Think of, I don't know, bees or birds, monkeys, and so on, right? Whales in the water, fish, dolphins seem to use signs. So animals do seem to use signs to communicate and to maybe do other things, not just communication. And they use sound, obviously, right? They may use sound and they may use maybe gestures, right? We can use sound. Right? If we're speaking, I'm using sound, But I'm also using, writing. Right? These things are written down in front of you. So we're using writing system and we're using sound. So there's a form to the sign. Now animals, have form to the signs they use. They use funny body positions, or they move their wings around or something, or they do a funny dance, some kind of form. Right? Could be a very loud noise, for example, in the case of a whale, a bear making a very big growling noise. So animals, have form to their signs. They use, and including sound. And we'd probably say that animals do communicate meaning, right? So if an animal uses a noise to communicate meaning, some kind of meaning to other animals, it can do that. Just use the form, whatever it is, sound or the dance or the movement or whatever it is, and it can communicate meaning. It's difficult to say that you cannot communicate meaning. Sorry, can I just come out for a bit, because it's kind of bothering me that I'm too dark. I think I'm too dark. Give me 1 second here, right? Anyway, a little bit better than before, I think. Okay, then. Right, because it may be important for me to show lip positions a little bit later. Okay. So anyway, that's that. And so, yeah, animals, we can say that animals use sound, they use form, and they communicate meaning. They may say, run away, or there's a snake. Imagine some sort of monkey or something communicating to other monkeys, saying there's a snake coming, or there's a big bird in the sky. Right? They can do that. Right? So animals do use forms, sound, big noises, dances, body movements, positions of parts of their body, expressions, maybe facial expressions, and so on, showing their teeth. So they use these various forms to communicate meaning. Now, so the question then is, if you look at syntax, right? You look at syntax. Now we know that syntax basically means grammar. Yeah, syntax basically means grammar, right? So with a word, we think of sound. Obviously, there's writing as well, but basically focusing on sound here. And there's meaning, which is semantics, right? Now we think, okay, so animals use sound, animals use meaning, they communicate meaning, but what about grammar? Right? What about grammar? What about syntax? Right? Do animals have syntax? Do animals use grammar? Now we kind of come back to this through this course. Think about it a little bit, but I want you to think about it. Right? Think about whether animals actually have grammar. Right? Are human beings, right? Are human beings the only animals that have syntax, that have grammar? Are we the only animals that can do that? It's kind of an interesting question. I don't really think anybody knows the answer to that. But we do want you to think about that. Right? So you should think about it a little bit as we go through that. So don't forget that question. And do animals have syntax? Do you think? Right, it's an opinion question. So I may ask it in the test in the summer. Do animals have grammar? Do animals have syntax? Anyway, so that's sound, grammar. Meaning is really phonology, syntax, and semantics. Phonology is the theoretical approach to sound in language, and we're going to do a review of phonetics at the beginning of this course. Okay, then. So there's three things here, and we kind of come back to this idea of three things, three elements. And a word is composed of three parts: sound, grammar, and meaning. And a word is a sign. A word is a kind of sign, right? So if I go like that, right, that's a sign. That's a gesture. It's a kind of sign. I could show you a picture. That would be a sign. Well, words are also kinds of signs, and they're words, and they're signs that we use to communicate meaning. Okay, then phonetics, just a way of writing down different sounds. As I said, phonology is the sound system of a language. Okay, now we're going to be covering the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, and we're going to be using the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary. Okay, that's actually going to be in the test, so don't forget that. I'll go through here. Car, okay. The British pronunciation of the word car, right, is much easier than the American pronunciation. You'll notice it's just car. So it's A-I-U-E-O, car, just a long R. That's all it is, really. And then when you write it down in the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary, you can see this this funny here, right? But that really just means that you can hear it in certain contexts. So that is my car. My car is over there. So you can hear it when it's followed by a vowel. Car. Yeah, it's my car. Okay. So anyway, that's basically that. Yes. Okay. It's my car. It's my car. My car is over there. Car. My car is over there. Okay, so you should be able to hear the difference there. And so there's a difference there between British English and American English. So US, it's my car. It's going to be like that, basically. It's written slightly differently sometimes, but you kind of always get this sound, my car. But I think it's important to note that there still is an sound there, right? You can still hear this sound. Car. Shall I use this? Oh, that's no good. Okay. Okay. Anyway, phonology, syntax, and semantics. Let's not forget that. There's three parts. Three parts to a word, and a word is a sign. So a word is a sign. Okay, now we're going to have a quick look at this guy, Charles Sanders Peirce. Right. I mentioned this guy in the video on semiotics. I'm going to talk about semiotics right at the beginning because I want you to think about different kinds of sign. Okay, let me just come out for a second. Oh, I can't come out. Yes, I can. Okay, let me just come out for a second. Everybody okay? Everybody hearing all right? No problem? Give me some kind of sign of yes, everybody's all right? Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, good. Right. So we don't seem to have any particular problems here. Let me know in the chat or something if something's going wrong. A little bit worried about the sound, but I think we're all right. Okay, then. So anyway, that's a quick review, and I'm going to go back into screen share and talk about Charles Sanders Peirce. Well, here he is, Charles Sanders Peirce. He's kind of interesting person because he kind of invented semiotics. The inventor of semiotics. And semiotics is the study of signs. The study of signs. And a word is a kind of sign. Why do we use signs? Well, normally we use signs to communicate things. So we generally think that words are used to communicate. Actually, Chomsky doesn't agree with that. Anyway, let's get on with that. So Charles Sanders Peirce, who is he? Well, he was basically interested in the study of signs, semiotics. He kind of founded semiotics. He wasn't a linguist. He was a scientist, a more general scientist, but he was interested in how we use signs to communicate, right? And what we do with signs and what kind of different signs we have. So it's all about signs. Right? He was just generally interested, incredibly brilliant guy. Had a rather a sad life, in fact, but very influential and very important. Just sort of think about what he said about signs. And don't forget, this is kind of put us in the perspective of, a word is a sign, right? So an English word is a kind of sign, right? We generally would agree with that, right? And as we've said so far, we've got sound, grammar, meaning. Do animals have those things? Well, they seem to have sound, they seem to have meaning. Do they have grammar? Okay. So animals also use signs. And not just animals, actually. We'll see signs all over the place. Okay. Anyway, there are three kinds of sign. Right? I'm going to start off with this because I think it's kind of interesting. So here's Charles Sanders Peirce. He's living in the 19th century. He's writing really in about the 1860s. Right? You can see kind of old-fashioned look to his clothes and so on, the beard. So he said what he claimed was there's three kinds of sign. And he developed sort of ideas about threes, right, which you might want to think about. It kind of makes it easy to remember as well. Even if you don't agree with it, it's kind of easy to remember these threes. Okay, so there's three kinds of sign. He gets this kind of theory of threes going. Let's check it out. Okay, so first of all, he says the first kind of sign, is what we call an index, or what he called an index. Now, what's an index? Index, well, that's my index finger, right? That's my index finger there, okay? That's my index finger, and I use it to point, all right? So index really means something that points, pointing at something, right? Same thing with Japanese, of course, right? And you point at things, right? That's what index kind of means, right? It points directly at something, right? And you think, well, what does that mean? It points directly at something. It's a sign that points directly at something. All right, think about that. A sign, you use a sign and it points directly at something. Okay, it's slightly difficult to understand maybe what that means. Have a think, right, what that could mean. What is an index in that case? Well, let's have a look. So, for example, the classic example of an index would be smoke, right? Smoke. So if you smell smoke or you see smoke, that points at something. Right? If you think about it, maybe at night, I don't know if you ever have the experience, you go into bed and then you, what's that? I smell, I can smell smoke. When you smell smoke, usually you're kind of worried. Right? You get a little bit worried if you smell smoke because you think, well, if there's smoke, that means there is fire. Right? So kind of smoke means fire. Smoke indicates or indexes fire. Right? It's a sign of fire. Obviously, right? It's easy to understand that. Right? So smoke is a sign of fire. So smoke is an index for fire, you could say. Right? Smoke directly points at fire. Okay, so that's kind of easy to understand, I think. And there are other indexes, which, I cover in the video, and you can think about those. What kind of indexes are there in the world? or in the universe, I suppose. So anyway, smoke is a classic example. It's a direct sign of fire. Right? So in this case, smoke is an index. Right? It's a sign. Right? It's a very simple sign in a way. It's a very direct sign. It's a direct sign of fire. Now, you could maybe make smoke without fire, but still you get the idea. Right? Smoke is a sign of fire, a direct sign of fire. Now, if you think about that, that's an index, right? Smoke. But language isn't really like that, right? It's kind of interesting to think about that we use language, but language isn't really an index, right? It's not a direct sign of something. It works in a kind of complicated way. So it's kind of important to think about what an index is, right? It's a direct sign of fire. Okay, say for example, another example, say you find a skeleton, or gaikotsu, I suppose. It's a sign that something has died. Right? If you see a skeleton, the other day I was walking in the mountains. Maybe I shouldn't say that with lockdown. I was walking in the mountains and came down and I saw a skeleton of a dog or some animal that had died and drowned, and you could see the skeleton. Okay, so you see the skeleton. It's a sign, a direct sign that something has died. Yeah, it's an index. Right? So very straightforward, direct indication, a direct sign of something. That's an index. Right? Okay, there are three kinds of signs. Index is in a way the simplest. And if you think about that, probably all animals kind of understand indexes, at least some of them, right? Probably an animal can smell smoke and get the idea that there's a fire. Right? Maybe you disagree with them, but think about it. Probably animals, right? Animals get that, right? They can get these indexes. They understand it. I want you to think about, the situation with animals. Right? Think about the situation with animals. Are animals understanding the same way that we do in some ways? Right? And you can say, well, yeah, okay, maybe animals, they can read these indexes, they understand these indexes, they get it. Maybe not all of them. Maybe sometimes they get indexes we don't get. Right? For example, birds can see things very clearly. Maybe they see indexes we don't see. Right? Dogs can hear very well. They can smell very well. Maybe they get indexes we don't get. Right? So these direct signs, maybe they can read these direct signs better than us in some cases. Okay, worth thinking about. It's interesting. But in any case, I mean, it's like, can they do it? They probably can. Indexes, they're very direct, they're very simple. As long as you can see something or smell something, you can probably read it. It's a direct sign. So smoke is a direct sign of fire. The skeleton is a direct sign of death. Those are indexes. And now, if you look at the semiotics video, give a few more examples of these, right? And it's probably worth watching that video before you take the test, or the quiz. Right? Watch the video before you take the quiz. So I give a few more examples of those kinds of things. And to do the quiz, it may be better to look at that first. Now, there's indexes. First one, simple things, probably your animals. I can see some of you here have your pets, right? Your pets, there's pictures on your profile. Well, your pet probably can read indexes, at least some of them, and maybe some better than us. Now, another kind of sign, okay, so index is the first kind of sign. So first sign is an index, something that points directly. Right? Points directly at something, smoke, things like that. So that's an index. But Charles Sanders Peirce said there are three kinds of signs. And the second kind of sign is what we call an icon, right? Icon, or what he calls an icon. Now, icon, if you know the word, the English word icon, normally if we see some funny sign used on a computer, on a computer screen, we'll call it an icon, like emoji type things, right? Those are icons. But Charles Sanders Peirce was using icon in a slightly narrower way than that, right? So an icon is different from an index, right? An icon is different from an index. An index is directly pointing at something. It's saying, smoke, there must be fire. That's a direct sign of something. I give other examples, but he's saying an icon is different, right? So index and icon, they're different things. Okay, so what's an icon? Now, the way Peirce was talking about icons is a bit different from the way we talk about icons today. Right, so don't get confused with that. What we call icons is not really what Charles Sanders Peirce was saying about icons. Let's have a think about this. So what's an icon? What is an icon? Now, we think of these kinds of things as icons, right? These little funny signs, icons on our computer screen. Yeah, so you could say those icons, because we use icon in a very general way, particularly when it comes to computers. Right? So all these funny little signs, we call them icons. Right? So we think of these things as icons. Right? So we think of these things as icons. They're all kind of icons. I mean, look at those, right? You can see there's all various little pictures, and you think, well, okay, they mean something, right? You can probably get the idea of what they mean. Let me just have a look at those, right? If you see that on your computer screen, it's going to mean something, right? And we think of these kinds of things as icons, right? Any kind of little picture on a computer screen, we think that's an icon. Right? Have a look at those. So those are all icons, right? You get the idea, right? If you look at that, you think, well, okay, there's a picture of a pencil. That's going to mean something, right? We recognize the picture of a pencil, and we say it means something. We think of all of those as icons, right? That's how we think of everything. Anything, any computer image, or a little computer image on the screen, that's going to be an icon. But that's not how Charles Sanders Peirce is thinking about it, okay? So that's not what Charles Sanders Peirce thinks. Okay, have a quick look at those. Those are all icons. They mean something. Picture of an airplane means something, right? Picture of a microphone, that's an icon. It means something. You're using that. You're clicking on your microphone to switch your sound on or off. Yeah, it kind of means something, right? And we think of all of those things as icons, right? But that is not what Charles Sanders Peirce was saying. Okay. So Charles Sanders Peirce would probably say that this, right, is a true icon. Right? I think you can say that, right? So you'd probably say that this is a true icon. Yeah. This is a true icon. You think, well, why? Right? Why is that a true icon? Well, it's a true icon in the sense that this looks like something. Right? It looks like, at least in one way, it looks like something. Right? In other words, you can say, for example, this is, hope I'm not going to regret this. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see if I can get away with this. So this is, this bit here at least, right? This bit down here, right? That looks like something, right? So what does it look like? Well, it looks like a hand, right? That looks like a hand. You'd agree with that, right? It looks like a hand. So because it looks like a hand, that means it's an icon, right? It looks like something. Yeah. So That's it. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a finger pressing something. Yeah, I think you'd agree with that, right? I mean, it looks like, right? It looks like a hand, looks like a finger pressing it, right? You can actually looks like that, right? And it kind of looks like, for us, we interpret it anyway, looks like a finger pressing something. Yeah, so it's you can say it's an icon, right? It looks like something. And you think, well, okay, what's the difference, right? Well, some of these things, some of these icons, we call them icons, but they don't really look like anything, right? I mean, if you think about this, right? I mean, you got things like, I mean, look at these things, right? It's worth thinking about. Right? You've got this thing here, for example, right? This looks like somebody walking, right? So I suppose you could say it's an icon for somebody walking, right? You could say this looks like a face, maybe. Yeah, looks like a face. So you could say it's an icon for a face. And this looks like a microphone, right? It looks like a microphone. So it's an icon for a microphone. So it looks like something, right? And then maybe, for example, you've got this here, right? This one here. Now, this is an icon in the sense that it looks like something. Think about what it looks like, right? It looks like the spanner thing, right? You kind of use a spanner, right? You use a spanner. So it looks like a spanner, right? It looks like a spanner. So it's an icon because it looks like it, right? So that's all right. It's an icon. It's an icon for a spanner because it looks like a spanner, right? But then you think about that. Okay, so it's an icon for a spanner. But then, is that the meaning, right? And so if we use if we use this icon, right? If you use this picture, yeah, use this picture on the computer. Are we actually saying, oh, that's we're trying to communicate spanner, right? You're trying to communicate. What are you trying to communicate, right? Are you trying to communicate spanner? Well, not really. I mean, probably on a computer, you're not doing that, right? You're probably trying to communicate something different. What might you be trying to communicate? Maybe settings. You can fix things, right? So in other words, maybe you're trying to communicate not spanner, right? You're not trying to communicate spanner. You're trying to communicate fixing things, perhaps, right? In other words, the meaning, right? The meaning is different. What you're trying to communicate is different from the picture, right? So, for example, you might. Oops, I've lost it again. Have I? I've lost it again, haven't I? It doesn't like me doing that. Oops. No, I've got a problem again. Okay. No, I've got a problem again. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll just come out of there for a second because it was giving me some problems. Probably good time to have a little pause anyway. Can I just check everything's all right? No sound is no problem. You're getting this, right? You can you can see the screen and everything. Yeah, no problem. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Yes. Okay. Good. Right. And that's actually kind of worth mentioning because look at the icon that comes up there, right? Look at that icon. That what you've got there, in fact, is a thumb, right? A thumb pointing up with your hand, right? And I suppose you could say that's an icon, a true icon in Charles Sanders Peirce's sense. Right? It's a true icon because it looks like a hand, right? It looks like a hand with the thumb pointing out. We recognize that. Yeah, it's kind of iconic. Looks like a hand with a thumb pointing out. But that's not the meaning, right? When we use that sign, So for example, like that, yeah, if we use that sign, we're not meaning, right? The meaning isn't a hand with thumb pointing up like that, right? That's not the meaning. Right? The meaning means okay, right? No problem, or good, or something, right? So the meaning is okay or good, right? So in that sense, you could say that it's not really an icon. Right? Something else is happening there. It's an icon for a hand with a thumb pointing up, right? So it's an icon for a hand with a thumb pointing up. Let's do it again. There you go. There you go. It's an icon. So it looks like a hand with a thumb pointing up. Yeah, that's what it looks like. But that's not its meaning. Right? We don't use it to mean a hand with a thumb pointing up. Right? So that's kind of the difference there. Have a little think about that. So you could say that this is an icon in the sense that it looks like a hand. It looks like a hand with a thumb pointing up. But it doesn't look like okay, right? It doesn't look like good. It doesn't look like no problem. All right, so something else is happening there. We'll have to have a little think about that. Okay, let me just go back in here, see if I can avoid some problems this time. Anyway, so you think of these as icons, right? And some of them, they look like things, but maybe their meaning is different. Okay, so what it looks like, what something looks like, and its meaning may be different. So something looks like a spanner, right? It looks like a spanner, but its meaning may be something completely different. Okay, so the meaning may be different. Oops. Okay. So yes, Charles Sanders Peirce would probably say this is a true icon, right? Because it looks like a hand pressing a button or pressing something. And I guess it means a hand pressing something, kind of. Yeah. You could maybe argue about that, but it looks like a hand pressing something, and it means a hand pressing something. So it seems like it maybe is a true icon. We can go with that. So it looks like a finger pressing something, and that's kind of what it means. If you look at these, right? Look at these. We call them all icons, right? So look at those. Are these true icons? All right? Are these true icons? Well, what have we got here? Right? What do you actually have in this case? I'll be very brave again. I know I'm going to make. I know I'm going to regret this. Yeah. So it's got the. This should give me the at least get the arrow. I think. You got this one here, for example, right? This is. Does that give me? Okay. Got some sort of picture here. Looks like. What does it look like? Looks like a camera, a movie camera, right? Looks like a movie camera. If you use that, what does it mean, right? Does it mean movie camera, right? Yeah, it might mean something else. And what do these things mean, right? They look like certain things, right? But they might mean something else, right? Say, for example, you've got something that looks like film, right? Looks like film, right? Looks like a chair, right? Looks like a chair. But maybe it doesn't mean chair. Maybe it means something else. And you've got something that looks like popcorn, for example. Right? It looks like popcorn, but does it mean popcorn? Maybe it doesn't mean only popcorn. Maybe it means other things as well. You've got something that it looks like glasses. Does it mean glasses? Kind of, but special kind of glasses, right? And you've got these. What about this one here, right? At the bottom left, where you've got these masks, Right? There's a smiley mask and there's a kind of unhappy mask, a happy mask and an unhappy mask. And it looks like two masks, right? It looks like two masks. Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? I mean, that's obvious, right? Look what it looks like. It looks like two masks, right? And you look at it and you think, well, what does it mean? Does it mean two masks? It doesn't really mean two masks, right? It's like, look at it. Oh, it means a happy mask and an unhappy mask. No, it doesn't mean that. Right? It means something else. Well, what does it mean, right? Well, it kind of usually we use it to mean drama, right? Drama. So then that iconic, right? The icon meaning, direct icon meaning, there's something else happening there, right? And Charles Sanders Peirce would say, you know, it's a different thing. Oops. Okay, so are these true icons, right? Or are they what we call symbols? Symbols. Okay, so that's, in other words, you've got three things. You've got three things now. We've got the index, a direct sign like smoke, things like that. And then you've got the icon, something that looks like something. And then you've got symbols. Okay, symbols. So if you think about these funny masks, the bottom left, it looks like two masks. Looks like a happy mask and an unhappy mask. So it's an icon, right? It looks like something. But as a symbol, right, it's a symbol of something else, right? It's a symbol of drama. You know, we use it as a symbol of something else, as a symbol of drama. So you've got indexes, you've got icons, and you've got symbols. Okay, now think about that, right? We got indexes, these direct signs. We've got icons, things that look like things. And then we've got symbols, which may look like something, maybe not, right? But we use it to mean something else, right? So for example, if we look at these again, oops, why is that there? Okay. If we look at these again, you've got things like this funny tick, for example, right? We've got things like this, you know, the exclamation mark, right? And they don't really look like anything. Do they look like anything? Right? Or say, for example, I know I'm going to regret if I do this, but I feel like I have to now. Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's do this. So, for example, if we look at the plus sign, right? Plus sign doesn't really look like anything, right? This funny tick, I mean, you don't really use ticks in Japanese culture, for example, right? It doesn't really look like anything, right? Or this funny cross, right? It doesn't really look like, doesn't really look like what it's supposed to be. Oops, didn't want to do that. Oh no, I need to get that out. Hang on. It's kind of a pain. Okay. Oh, I got rid of it. Okay, good. Right. Ooh. Let's go back to that. So in other words, some of these things don't really look like anything, right? They don't particularly look like something, right? So we just decide to use it, right? So, you know, a plus sign, for example, we just decide it means something, right? Somebody decided, and we kind of go along with it. They don't really look like anything in reality, right? Look at a picture of the cloud, for example, at the bottom left. Right? If you could think about a cloud, picture of a cloud down here at the bottom. There's an envelope, for example, at the bottom looks like an envelope. Right? Does it mean envelope? If you use it on a computer, does it mean envelope? Well, maybe it means something slightly different. And then cloud, right? Cloud looks like a cloud. Do we use that to mean cloud? An actual cloud? Maybe we've got a different idea of cloud. So maybe the picture, what it looks like, right, what something looks like is different from the meaning we're communicating. Right? So you can see the icon, the usage as an icon, it looks like something. And the usage as a symbol, the way we use it as a symbol, is different. Okay, so so Charles Sanders Peirce would probably say this is a true icon. It looks like a hand with a finger pressing something. You can go along with that, right? So it kind of looks like something. It's a true icon. It looks like that. But some of these things, they look like something. They maybe look like a camera, or they look like masks, but maybe the meaning, the symbolic meaning is different. Symbols, right? So are they icons or are they symbols, right? So popcorn could be an icon of popcorn, but a symbol for a shop that sells things like popcorn. Okay, so symbolic meaning. So an icon looks like something. That's what an icon is. So you could say the masks, the pictures, it's a picture of two masks, a happy mask and an unhappy mask. It's an icon, but it's a symbol of drama. The symbolic meaning is different. Okay, and a symbol has a meaning that we basically decide in culture, right? So just as we live our lives, we're kind of doing things in our culture. We just decide that something means something, right? So at some point, sometime, somebody decided these masks, the happy mask and the unhappy mask, they mean something. Right? They mean something different. And this kind of idea spread, and everybody started using it. And everybody understood the meaning, right? So the meaning kind of changed. Somebody just decided, oh, that is going to mean drama. That's going to be our symbol for drama. So anyway, if you think about it, we've got icons, we've got indexes, we've got icons, and we've got symbols. Now, indexes, do animals understand indexes? Yeah, I think they do. Maybe sometimes better than us. Right? So indexes, maybe some animals get indexes better than we do. Yeah, they get better than we do. Icons, do animals understand icons? Do they? Think about it. Does your cat, if you show your cat a picture of something, does your cat understand that? Does it get it? Maybe not. Right? Okay. Get some noise in the background. Put your microphone off, please, if you can. Anyway, right. So indexes, icons, and symbols. Right then. The masks are true icons for masks. Right. So they look like masks. Right. So the masks look like masks. So they're icons. But they're symbols for theatre or drama. Yeah, they don't look like theatre or drama. Do you get that, right? They don't look like theatre or drama. They're just symbols for that. So we're using these pictures as symbols. Now, probably animals get indexes. Maybe they don't get icons, and they probably don't get symbols. Well, then again, maybe we can teach dogs, for example, but usually they don't. Anyway, think about that. So anyway, let's get back to this. 3 things, right? 3 things: phonology, syntax, semantics. And you notice there are 3 kinds of signs. So a word is a sign. A word is a kind of sign. It's a funny kind of sign. And we think of it having 3 parts: the sound, the grammar, and the meaning. And maybe only humans have syntax. Could think about that. So words are kinds of signs, special signs, and we think of there being 3 kinds of signs, at least in Sanders Peirce's theory. So we've got threes here. Everything's in threes. It kind of makes it easy to remember. Yeah. Okay, then. So we got sound, grammar, meaning, phonology, syntax, and semantics. I'm just going to do a quick run through some sound transcribing, right? If you look at the top things here, what does that mean? Or what does that sound like? This is a transcription in International Phonetic Alphabet. The backwards, the backward E, I should say, is Now, if you think about phonology, right? Phonology, the phonology of English, the phonology of English has the sound right? Does the phonology of Japanese have the sound Well, probably not. The Japanese doesn't have sound. It's not in Japanese phonological system. So the Japanese phonology doesn't have the sound, sound, right? So there's two right? I think what does that? How do you say that? Practice it in your head, right? Practice that a little bit in your head. It's going to be fur, right? So the one on the left is UK, right? Fur. I don't like his fur, fur. And if you follow it with a vowel, his fur is nice. You can hear the a little bit, right? His fur is nice. Fur, fur. I like his fur. His fur is nice. Yeah. And then the American pronunciation on the right, that's where you always get the sound coming in. So it's fur, fur. The and the come together. Right? They're actually sort of built in together. Feels as if I need to mark this. I'll take a chance. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so anyway, the fur. Okay, there's the sound, right? That's the sound. This 3, like a backward E. This makes it longer, so it's fur, right? And then sometimes in British English, you hear the sound, the R, little R. His fur is nice, but I like his fur. And when it's isolated, you don't hear this, right? You just don't hear it. It's gone, right? Don't get it. Get rid of that fur. So that's that. And then you've got things like in American pronunciation, you've got this, again, the same sound, but this indicates that you always get the the R sound, right? It's a funny sign to mean that the is already inside that sound. So fur, fur. So the British pronunciation would be fur, fur, fur. It's easier, right? And then the American pronunciation is going to be fur, 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 which is kind of difficult, I think, right? You've got two difficult sounds for Japanese speakers. It's a bit more complicated. So that's why I recommend using British pronunciation. Okay, anyway, it's fur. His fur is wet, right? So you'll notice in this case, his fur is wet. Fur is, okay? So the thing there is that you've got, okay, it's kind of difficult to explain really, but his fur is wet. You hear the R, fur is wet. His fur is wet. It doesn't really matter. You could say his fur is wet. Right? You don't get it, but I mean, it sounds a bit funny. His fur is wet. That's kind of all right. But usually you hear his fur is wet when it's followed by a vowel in British English. Okay? So that's basically that. And then you've got the American pronunciation. Oh, so that's the British pronunciation. I don't like his fur. I don't like his fur. So you'll notice in the second case, you don't hear the fur. fur. I don't like his fur. Okay, then. What about this one? Going to do some variations between American and British pronunciation. Probably get that. That is, we know that the upside down E is an sound. Uh, 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 right? So again, that's something you don't really get in Japanese phonology, right? So this is something that shows that the phonology of English, of British English and American English, has this sound. Uh, stress is here. Vit, min, vitamin. Okay, that's all there is to it. Vitamin. Okay, so vitamin is there. And then you've got this one. This is the American pronunciation. Vitamin, actually. It's not a vitamin. You get the T in the American pronunciation is going to be kind of softened. So it sounds like a D. Vitamin. Ask your American teachers if that is really just like a D sound, right? To me, it just sounds like a D, like vitamin. Right? But you notice the pronunciation is quite different, right? In the British pronunciation and the American pronunciation. Vitamin. We say vitamin. Maybe sounds funny to you. Vitamin. Take your vitamins. Whereas an American would say something more like vitamin. And I always think, well, that's a bit, to me, American pronunciation is a bit funny, isn't there? Isn't that a bit funny? Don't you think? To me, it's weird, right? Oops, let's just take that there for a second. For example, I just like raise this question because I want you to ask your teachers, your American teachers, this, right? Because if you think about if it's vitamin, okay, vitamin, right? In British pronunciation, that's the way I speak. Oh, vitamin. Oh, look at this. I like these. I like this vitamin. Okay, we speak like that. What's going on here? Am I losing this? Why does it do that to me? I don't know why it does that to me. Seems to be a kind of a global problem we got here. Anyway. I don't know. I don't know what's doing that to me. Okay. I think I'm gonna. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I wanted to make a mark on that. I'm gonna come out for a second. I'm gonna come out because I want to make sure this works. Okay. I want to go back to vitamin and vitamin, right? Vitamin. Because I want you to ask your American teachers this question, right? Because I'm actually seriously interested in the answer to this. So let me try and go back in. I don't know why it causes me that problem, actually. Never mind. Yeah, anyway, vitamin and vitamin. And you've got this funny mark under the T to make sure that it's kind of softened, becomes more like a D. Now, the question I'm sort of asking, right, is if you ask your American teachers, right, if you get a word like that, right, if you get a word like that, now to me, I would say waiter, right, waiter, because I'm British. Waiter, excuse me, waiter, right? See, that's clear, I think, right? And then say you've got like a word like this, right, which we would say somebody or a bird or something like a wader, right? Is a wader, somebody that wades, right? The verb wade, to walk in the water, right? Wader. Okay, so we've got waiter in British pronunciation and wader in British pronunciation, right? Now the question to me is if American English has this soft T, or American English has this soft T, so is it the same? Right? Waiter and wader, waiter, waiter. Is it the same thing? Right? Is there any difference? Right? So Americans, when they say waiter, right, we have this word here. Americans say waiter, and then they say waiter. Does it sound exactly the same? Is it exactly the same? Is there any difference? I don't know. I'm not sure it is. But anyway, I want you to find out. Right? Ask your what's that? It's the same. Is this exactly the same? Yes, it's exactly the same. That's what I want to know. Okay, good. Yes. Right then. Nice. So ask your teacher, right? Ask your teacher to see if you can if those sounds do have exactly the same sound. Okay. Oh, hang on. Okay then. So then you got this privacy. Privacy. Okay, that's the British pronunciation. Privacy. It, as in ship. It's like a little capital I, right? Little capital I there. Capital I, privacy, prit, and then and then the actual like a little I is e, right? So prit e, it e, privacy, 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 and the stress is on the beginning. It doesn't matter too much about that, but privacy, all right? That's the British pronunciation. And then you've got the American pronunciation, privacy, privacy, privacy. And so Americans do say that's fair enough. I don't got no problem with that. Privacy. So privacy and privacy. So there's different pronunciations, but those are not phonological differences, right? Basically, American English and British English have the same kind of sounds, right? Different in some cases, but Americans do have a t sound, as in vitamin, right? They have the same sounds as British English. We all use the same basic sounds, so this phonology isn't really different. But there are differences in pronunciation. So privacy and privacy, that's it. There's the word, there's the form, the spelled form, but the pronunciation is different. Okay, then you've got something like this. This is a UK pronunciation. How do you say this? Have a think, have a think, have a think. Okay, we're going to be testing you on this, right? And you'll be sick of it, right? So there's got this funny long S. That's not just an S sound. That's sh, sh. And then you've got the d. And then you've got this funny, like, I don't know, what is it? Like a funny long three or a weird, I don't know what it looks like really. It looks like that, right? And that sound is j, 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 like a very soft J. Yeah. So schedule. Now, this is a funny one because schedule, right? I'm British, but I don't say schedule, right? I don't say that now. I've forgotten how to say that. So I've been in Japan speaking to Americans, and I don't speak like that anymore. So I've given up on schedule, but that's the British pronunciation, right? And then the American pronunciation is that schedule, schedule, schedule. Okay, so you can see that. They don't have the sh, so the pronunciation is different. It's schedule, right? So the pronunciation is different, but American English does have the sh sound, right? They do have the sh sound. It's not like they don't have it. So it's not a phonological difference. It's just a pronunciation difference, right? Schedule and schedule. And now I don't say schedule anymore. If I've forgotten how to say that, I just say schedule. I'm copying. I copy the Americans on this one, but not with vitamin. Vitamin. I say vitamin. Still say vitamin. Okay. Anyway, that's that one. Schedule or schedule. Pronunciation is very different. but that's not a phonological difference. It's just a pronunciation difference. Okay, what about this one? This is UK. What is that? Okay, we look at that first bit of that word. Right, the first bit of that word there. Right? It's like a funny hard sound, like an e and an together. It's like you go you go and then you widen your mouth a bit. Sorry to do that. Right? So it's garage, 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 garage. So the stress is the beginning. Garage, garage, garage. Right. So this one is more like an open garage. Okay. So that's the there's a plane going over. It's a sign. The sound is an index of an airplane flying overhead. Anyway, forget that. Garage in the UK. And then we also say garage, right? That's also another alternate pronunciation in the UK. Garage. So I say garage band. Right? Garage band, I say. Right? So I use garage. Garage sounds stupid to me. I don't do that. Garage. Garage. And then you've got the US. What does that sound like? You know that the upside down E is like an g, 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 g. Then you've got the just like an ordinary. I think it's close to garage, garage. Right? Remember, we've got this funny garage, garage. So the stress is on the second part, garage. Don't worry too much about stress. Okay. Anyway, garage. I would say garage. Okay. And then you've got the phonetic symbols in IPA. Just go through this very, very briefly. They're all basically the same as the sound in English. P, t, k, b, d, j, g, m, n, f, v. They're all the same. What, right? It's ordinary, easy ones. They just sound exactly the same the way they do in English. And some of them, so pi, it's like that. Tie, key, right? B, things like that, right? Simple. Guy, right? My, lie, night. All these are easy, right? Far. There's the UK. How far is it? It's very far. Right? And the US far by that. And sometimes they write it with stuck together on the A, maybe. Anyway, very, 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 very. Way, way. Right? So in these cases, we say it's not the E, it's the it, way. Maybe. High, sigh, fizz, zip. Okay. And then you've got these funny consonants. All right, these funny consonant sounds, which is a little bit more difficult. You have to kind of remember these. You've done these already, right? We're going to review these. Rang, right? As an N and a G together. Rang. You got sticking your tongue out between your teeth. Thigh. And then you got the same thing with the softer voiced sound. Makes your lips itch. Shh. We've been through that in shy. Vision, the soft zh sound. And the t and the sh together, cheap. And then you've got d and the j together, jive. Okay. Rang, thigh, then. Rang, thigh, then. Rang, thigh, then. Okay. Shy. Vision. right? So the here is kind of very short, maybe disappearing. You can say vision if you want, but usually we just say vision. Right? So it's very, very small sound. Vision. I suppose what's the difference here? I suppose the second one is vision. So you actually, you can actually hear this vision, whereas the first one is vision. It's like very, very, very short. Yeah, kind of difficult to hear, but don't worry too much. Cheap, cheap, cheap. How do you write that? Think about that one. It's jive, jive. Okay. So anyway, and these there's different ways to say it. Rye, right? Sometimes they write it with an upside down R. You don't have to. This is okay. This ordinary R is fine. Don't worry about it. The upside down. Forget about upside down R. I don't need it. This one is used very often. The J is actually a Y, right? That was on the last quiz. This is, if you want to use an F, is no problem. Sometimes people use this funny circle with a line through it to have the same meaning, right? So if if you see it like that, that's what it is, right? But we probably won't use that. We'll try and go for the easy ways, except that the J is used very often. Okay. Anyway, Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary gives you things like this. They use the ordinary R, but they use the J to mean ya. Yeah, so don't forget that. So this is the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary approach, and we'll probably copy that, right? But Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary uses ordinary F, uses ordinary R, but it uses a J to mean ya. Yeah, J to mean ya. Okay, and so anyway, that's basically that. And then vowels, let's do quickly. Sheep, E, sheep, sheep, sheep. Of course, Japanese phonology doesn't have the distinction between ship and sheep, but British English does, and American English does, in fact. Yeah. So you've got the difference there. The E, 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 it's kind of E is like pulled out more. Sorry about that. Pulled out more. Sheep, sheep, and then ship, right? Kind of flatter. Ship, sheep, and ship. Okay, so you notice that's a different way of doing it. The sheep is like an ordinary small I, and the ship is like a capital I, only written as a small letter, right? So that's the difference there. E, E, all right, so Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary does that. There's different ways of doing it, but we're going to follow the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary. Hate, A is like that. Hate, head, head, same thing, right? Head, head. That's all it is, right? So it's pretty easy. Okay then, had, right? This is a slightly different one. Had, right? So it's ha, and then it's kind of had, right? Had, and like that. Hard, it's a long sound. Hard in the UK, hard. It's very hard, right? Hard in the US, hard. It's very hard. Don't go heard. It's not like that. Hard. There's an sound there, right? So don't miss the sound. Hard, hot, right? Hot. This is a kind of flat O sound. It's kind of flattened out. Right? So you start with the and you kind of loosen your mouth a little bit. So you go make it very round. Open it up. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. So that's the UK hot. It's hot. It's hot. And then the US hot is kind of more like an in the US. Right? So don't worry too much about that. Okay, store, things like that is more open, a little bit more open. Store. It's kind of more open, or more like an ordinary sound. Right? round or sound. Store in, that's a nice, a store is nice. The store is nice in the UK. I like that store. And the US is pretty much the same, except it's store. Okay. Dog, UK is dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And dog in the US. Right? So it's more like an ah sound. Again, I don't think you should copy American English. British English is easier, right? That's my advice. Okay, foot, and so on. Code, code, code. British English gives you code, code, or maybe code, or right? So you basically got kind of like a flat and then very round, okay? So maybe I should maybe make a note of this. Hope I don't regret it. Let's have a look. So you got code. British English actually gives you, very often they just go code. And then particularly in American English, this tends to be a bit more open. Sort of more like a round O, right? Round O, not really open, round. Oh, I've lost it. I have lost it, haven't I? Why does it do that to me? Why does it do that to me? I don't know. Oh, I've got it. Okay. So, yeah, where is it? It's very distracting, actually. All right. American English has got more like a slightly more round but not very round code. British English sometimes like that as well. And then only I think American English sometimes has a very round code, very round code. All right, so this is kind of flat. This is getting a bit rounder. And this is very round. Right, that's the only difference. Yeah, you're not going to hear it very much anyway. Don't worry too much about that. But that's the basic idea. Okay, then. Let's get rid of that. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Okay, and let's get out of there. And that's pretty much that, I think, for today. So you got code in the UK, but you might get code in the US. Not everybody does that, but some people do. Code. You do hear very round O in the US sometimes. Canadians also do that, I think. Code. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop there, actually, guys, because we've covered most of the difficult stuff we've covered. So basically, we're looking at semiotics, theory of signs. A word is a sign. A word is a kind of sign. It's got a sign which has phonology, grammar and meaning, sound, grammar, meaning, phonology, syntax, and semantics. We're saying, is it only humans who have syntax? Maybe, right? But anyway, words are signs. It's a kind of sign. We use signs to communicate. There are three different kinds of signs. There's the index, natural signs that point directly to things. There's icons, things that look like other things. And then there's symbols, right, which are kind of decided in culture. Okay then, guys, right then. So that's that. Thanks for staying with me. Time is up. I've been talking for 90 minutes. Isn't that amazing? So check out the quiz, do that, and see you next week. Any problems? Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Give me a sign. Give me a sign. Yes, okay, we got some signs coming up. All right. Yes, those are signs. Those are actually symbols. They're symbols. Yes, they're symbols. That's right. They are symbols, right? Because they are icons and they're symbols. They're icons because they look like a hand. They look like a hand with a thumb, but they're symbols because they mean something different. We've just decided in our culture that it means that. Okay then, guys. So anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please make them now. We can put them in the chat or anything. If not, I'm going to stop there and invite you to go to the quiz, do that, and I will see you next week. Okay, don't seem to have any questions or comments. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to end there. So bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm going to come out.